Welcome to First Issues. 2025 marks the 10th anniversary of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science and the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. Two very significant milestones in the global effort to promote gender equality and women's empowerment. Despite some progress in recent decades, with varying success depending on disciplines and countries, gender equality in science remains elusive. Today, only 1 in 3 scientists is a woman. Lack of gender equality in science is not only just a problem that affects women, because it also limits scientific progress and hamstrings a country's development. But looking to forge forth in spite of the barriers is Tlamelo Makati, a brilliant young woman who holds an engineering degree in mechatronics from the Botswana International University of Science and Technology, currently pursuing a postgraduate qualification in computer science in Ireland. She also holds a drone piloting license and was a tutor and mentor in science at the University of Botswana. But as already stated, the systemic barriers to be successful in this field as a woman are immense. How has she managed to navigate them, and does she see herself becoming the change that is needed by younger women coming up after her? Tlamelo Makati joins us via Zoom from Ireland. Tlamelo, thank you so much for coming on First Issues. We're here talking to you today on the 10th anniversary of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, right? We're talking about this conversation in terms of breaking the gender norms and stereotypes when it comes to women being in this field. So what barriers did you notice that you had to break as a woman, and a young woman no less, to be considered an equal?
I think definitely underrepresentation. For example, even if you get into these spaces, there's still that view of that you got in because you're a woman. Another barrier is definitely personal, self-doubt, imposter syndrome. You spend years working so hard, but when it comes to actually presenting yourself as person that you work so hard to create is very difficult because you feel like that you're not enough.
Yes, but do you think that much has been done to help ease these barriers or eradicate them altogether?
So definitely there has been a lot that has been done, especially in terms of getting women into positions of power, leading research projects and being professors and lecturers. But at the same time, there's still a lot that needs to be done in making sure that women stay in this position. Women are seen for their capabilities, and instead of just them being seen as ticking a box, it's like, oh, we have a woman professor.
Tlamelo, at the outset of our conversation, I did mention that 2025 is the 10th year anniversary for the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, but it is also the 30th anniversary for the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, which are two very significant milestones in global efforts to promote women empowerment and gender equality. Right, but my question to you is, what do you think is the number one culprit that has us having the same conversation decades later? And what is it that you think needs to happen to close this gender parity gap?
Yeah, exactly. I think it has to do with the way systems were originally built, systematic exclusion. It's a very important thing to consider because the way things are set up, especially in sciences, there are people who are responsible for offering funds or grants to researchers. There are people who are responsible for making sure that research is being done. And when you look at the board of these people, it's usually men. And also the metrics that are used in science to measure what we call intellect and capabilities are usually academic publishing, and you realize that a lot of women do research that is community-based rather than developing models and publishing papers. You will see a lot of women who have done a lot for science don't have a lot of publications, and because of that, they're not recognized as being good enough to be in that field. So I think that also has an effect. And then I will add also on obviously culture, tradition, and religion, and how these systems have placed women in the hierarchy system. Systematic bias that we grow up with, the systematic bias that is in our society, systematic bias in the technology itself.
You've already accomplished so much at such a young age and as a woman within this space, but do you have any intentions to move forward and achieve more within this space in spite of the barriers that you may have to face and break within your field?
I see myself as a researcher and an advocate, and I've always been an advocate for marginalized groups, and I want to be able to translate my advocacy into research. And for example, the current research I'm doing is looking at the role of AI in digital accessibility. That is, what are we doing to include the people that we're building this AI for, to make sure that they're included in the process of building the AI. So I'm working directly with persons with lived experiences, especially persons with disability. We need women who are in sciences and who are also in advocacy, because if you are an advocate for a marginalized group like women, that translates into your work. You're able to build technology that represents women, that includes women. You're able also to be that representation of what it means to be a woman in science.